This is the second video for April 4th, April 5th. We're looking at the properties of logarithms to help simplify expressions. If you did not watch the first video, or if you do not have the properties of exponents, you're going to be lost. So you need to make sure you take that first before you go to this video. And as promised, here I gave you these values for these three things. Try those on your own. If you got a different value, please come talk to me and ask where that value came from. Let's go to the back side now. Similar thing. We're gonna talk through these three. You're gonna need the properties of logarithms handy, so either write those on another note sheet or be able to flip back and forth really quickly. I would pause it right on a separate note sheet so you can have those handy though. But here, what we want to do now is, because it's going to be helpful in terms of solving our equations, what we want to do is write these expressions. I have 5 and 6 covered. I'll post those solutions here in a second. We want to write these expressions as the log of one quantity. So if we look here, in class we talked about, well, what properties will we use? Definitely quotient, because we're subtracting here, so subtracting two logarithms. But we will also use the power property. And the reason we will use the power property is because we're multiplying by a value in front of our logarithm. Now, when we're doing these, we need to be thinking about PEMDAS, right? Thinking about parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. The multiplication, addition, once you get down there, left to right. Addition, subtraction, left to right. So here, the exponent or the multiplication even, we need to consider that first. So if we use the power property here, this would become log. We need to move the 2 inside to our function. So this would be x minus 1 squared, which we can do. This is fine, based off the properties that we talked about on the previous page. And then now we can use the quotient. If we use the quotient property says we can write this as one logarithm, take the value, the quantity that's being represented here, and divide it by the quantity that's being represented here. And now we have the log of one quantity, which is what we wanted. Let's see about this one. Here we have our logs are being multiplied by values, but we also have this addition. Similar thing here. According to PEMDAS, we really need to take care of the multiplication. So we can move the 1/2 based off the power property and write this as x to the 1/2. Here, put the 3 inside, x plus 1 raised to the 3rd. Now we have addition between two logs. Those logs are the same base. So what we can write this as is, using the product property, we can write this as one logarithm and multiply the quantities inside our logarithms. So this would be x to the 1/2 times x plus 1, the quantity cubed. And so that would be our log of one quantity here. We could also write, based off of what we talked about with fractional exponents, as square root of x. The denominator tells you the root. The numerator tells you the exponent on what's inside. So since it's 2, that's square root. 1 means it's x to the first, or just x. And so we could also write it like this. Whew, excuse me. Either way is fine. Either way is fine. One last thing I want to go over, and then I'll let you try the last 3, give you solutions to those. Here, again, PEMDAS, we make sure we go in order. So maybe take care of the multiplication first. Because we are multiplying, we can use the power property and write this as y squared, moving the 2 inside. Also z to the 4th by moving the 4 inside. And now PEMDAS says once we have addition and subtraction, you do the first one that comes up moving left to right. So in this case, we do ln, because the subtraction comes up first, we're subtracting these two logs, we're just looking at these two. We can use the quotient property, and that says that this is equal to this quantity, x, divided by this quantity, y squared. And now we can use the the product property because of the addition between the two logs. And so this could be written as x over y squared times z to the fourth. But if I want to multiply the fractions, which I do, why wouldn't I? Put this over 1, so that becomes x times z to the fourth, or x z to the fourth over y squared. Oh. So when we did this in class, a lot of students said, oh, we're working in reverse. Sure. If you look at the properties, we're working from the right-hand side of the equation to the left hand. We need to be able to go back and forth pretty fluently. So this should, as we get more practice, come quicker and easier. I recommend doing 4 and the bottom 2 on your own. I'm going to go ahead, I would recommend pausing those, but if you're like, screw that, I'm going to look at it. Here are the solutions. So if you're looking at this one, it could either be this piece here or this piece there. The bottom 2 here, these would be our final solutions. This one takes a little more thinking, but I think you can get there. Try them out, see what you can get. Let me know if you have any questions. Be careful with the brackets. That means those are treated as parentheses. So do what's inside first and then apply what's outside. If you have questions, please let me know. Ask me during a review, outside of class, through the Remind app, email, all of those resources.